Hi guys, I'm Catherine and I'm here with another book review, and today I'm going to be book reviewing Into the Darkness by Mike Omer. And this one is a series, well they're all series. This one is about an experiment and a serial killer and an FBI profiler and her partner. In this book basically takes place with Zoe and Tatum, who are our two main characters, and they are in the FBI field office. Zoe is she's a profiler. She studies human behavior, and Tatum is an FBI agent. Zoe is not an agent. She's not an agent. She's just like a consultant with the FBI. Tatum is a full-fledged agent, and they get a video sent to her, and it's entitled Experiment 1. And in the video, there's this woman buried alive in a coffin, and she's screaming and kicking, wanting out. And they think it's a live feed. So her boss sends Zoe and Tatum to, I think it's Texas. No, it wasn't Texas. No, sends them to Texas. And they have a feeling that this will not be the last video because it's entitled Experiment 1, not just like experiment. So they go and they're trying to figure out like what's going on. And through all of this, Zoe is worried about another serial killer named Rod Glover. And Rod Glover is a serial killer who Zoe kind of like knew he was when she was younger, like 14. It's like this takes place in the first book, but he's targeting her and her sister Andrea. And she's in Texas and she doesn't want to be there. She wants to be looking for Rod Glover. She wants her sister to feel safe, and she doesn't like being far away from her sister. So that's basically what the book is about. I'm gonna go into kind of like relationship stuff in here. So Tatum and his grandfather. I have to say I love the relationship because it is extremely funny. Tatum and his grandfather. So his grandfather wants to go skydiving. And Tatum is like, why do you want to go skydiving? You know, you're older. And he needs insurance to do the skydiving course, I guess. And while he's in Texas, he calls Tatum and goes, yeah, I went skydiving and I had a great time. And, you know, this lady says I'm a natural and it's exhilarating and I want to do it again. And Tatum just kind of like rolls his eyes and shakes his head. And Tatum also asks him to like, oh, can you look in on Andrea because Rod Glover. And his grandfather was like, okay, I'll bring my gun. He's like, no, leave the gun at home. You don't need it. He's like, well, how am I going to shoot the serial killer if I don't have a gun? He's like, leave the gun at home. You don't need one. And I just love their relationship. It's really funny. That's just like one like instance in the book. And then as the book goes on, none of this stuff is spoilers, by the way. Tatum and Zoe kind of got into it because this is not a spoiler because it was in the first book. He shot a pedophile when he was working as just a cop, and they are reopening this case, I guess, because a new witness came forward. And Zoe was kind of analyzing him, saying, did you shoot the pedophile because you wanted to kill him? Or did you think like all pedophiles need to be shot? And he's like, no, I shot him because he was reaching in his bag and I didn't know what he was grabbing for. And he gets upset with her and he like doesn't want to talk to her. And so he's just kind of like just ignoring her. And so that's just like, I'm kind of just giving you an idea of like the relationships and everything that involves like everything. So, and then I now am going into spoiler territory. So if you haven't read this book and you want to read this book, I suggest you pause it. You come back after you read it. They end up finding the girl. She is dead. And in the book, she talks to this, I forget what the guy was, but he estimated how long she was going to be able to survive in the box, or in the coffin that she was in. And it wasn't very long, because in the beginning of the video, she was kicking and screaming and panicking, and that gives you less air. So she was like, so the guy said she won't have very long. And when they found her, the cops are going into the belief that she's still alive. But Zoe knows that she is gone. And instead of treating it like a crime scene, they go in and they're digging, they found it, they open the box, and she is already dead. So instead of preserving evidence that they could later find this guy, their crime scene had been trampled all over because they were trying to rescue the girl. And Zoe is just kind of like agitated because she knew it was going to happen. So she just wasn't happy. And then you also get POV from the serial killer in this book. I've read books about serial killers before. I've read Karen Slaughter. This book, I really enjoyed this book, to be honest. The only, not really a big pet peeve of mine, but when you're reading a POV of a killer, a serial killer, especially in like profiler books, this one, I liked it, but I also didn't like it. The reason why I didn't like it is because I felt like those chapters were too short. I felt like they could have been a little bit longer. But the writing in here I thought was great. It's simple. It's easy to follow. It's not, and this book sucked me in rather quickly. The only other issue is, personally, now this is just a personal thing of mine, I would have liked to see more of Tatum and his grandfather arguing, but that's just me because I thought that was funny. But out of all, I would have to give this book 4 stars. I loved it. The ending, the ending was fine. Like, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't bad. I just kind of was hoping for a little bit more. And like when Rod Glover came in and tried to rape and kill Andrea, which is Zoe's sister, Tatum's grandfather saved the day and shot him. And near the end of the book, Zoe gets kidnapped, and it's by the guy who is doing the experiments, and she is buried alive. Like, there is a camera feed, you see Tatum struggle with it. And what I loved about this particular part in the book this whole time, because Zoe got a call from Andrea saying that she was attacked and that she was okay, but she wanted her to come home. And so she tells Tatum what was going on and what happened, and she was like, I need the keys, I need to leave, I need to go now, I need to go be with my sister, give me the keys. So he gives her the keys, and this whole time he thinks she's in the air, she's going back to Boston. And Andrea calls him, and she's kind of groggy because, she's been given a sedative to rest. And she's like, have you seen Zoe? Because I can't get a hold of her. She's not answering her phone. Tatum was like, no, she's probably in the air. She's on her way home. But if, I hear from her, I'll give you a call. And it's been 2 hours. She's been gone for like a while. Or it's been 2 hours since she's supposedly landed, or he said something like that. So he called and he's like, I need someone to look up flights, I need someone to do, and all of that. They're like, oh, her flight, if she took that particular flight, it's supposed to be landed. They call hospitals. They, and then it finally dawned on him to go look in the parking lot to see if the car was still there. Lo and behold, the car is still there. So it kind of, like, when I read that part, like, my stomach just kind of dropped, because I didn't think, like, the serial killer was going to go after Zoe, and which he did. So I was just really surprised. And I was really surprised on who the serial killer was in this book. And I'm not going to tell you who it is, because I want you guys to be really surprised, because I was like, what? Like, I didn't think that was him. And I really, really paid attention in this book. And I didn't think it was him, but it was. It was good. I loved the book. But, and the other thing, what was I going to say? The other thing was, so when at the last few pages of the book, they found Zoe. She's physically okay, but mentally she's not. So at the last few chapters, she's back in Boston with Andrea. And, she's kind of struggling a little bit with claustrophobia. She wants all the windows open. She goes on long walks to help with the claustrophobia. Her sister's the opposite, because there's, like, Andrea has a trauma of having someone break into the house. And then also Zoe has a trauma of being buried alive. And, like, she wants everything open. She needs constant noise. And Andrea, on the other hand, she wants everything shut and locked, and she wants no noise. So living with two people that have different experiences and trauma was probably not the best thing. And even Zoe says that in the book, that, they're going through very similar things, but very different things. And they come to find out that Rod Glover was actually living in the apartment building. And I'm just like, yikes. And this guy, for a serial, he's just very smart. He lived in an apartment building, and the cops had no idea he was even there. And when he was able to get in to the apartment, Andrea opened the door because he was dressed as a cop. That's how he got in. He didn't break in. He was dressed up as a full-fledged cop. And Andrea thought, okay. And in the book, when you're reading the book, it says that he didn't show his face, because if he had shown his face, Andrea would have known it. So that's why his face was covered. So, and then just at the very end of the book, she's dealing with trauma. Tatum kind of checks up on her. And his granddad was also stabbed. And so in the midst of all of this going on, right, Tatum calls his granddad, because he was also there with Andrea when Rod Glover broke in. And Rod Glover stabbed him. But he didn't follow Tatum's advice and brought the gun with him and shot the Rod Glover in the side. So Rod Glover ends up leaving, like running away, and he gets stabbed. And so Tatum calls him, and he's like, I'm not going to give him this gun, and, I need to protect Andrea, and, and he's like, and Tatum was like, give him the gun, you need medical attention. He's like, no. And so he talks to the cop, and he's like, oh, this crazy old man needs to give me the gun, or the paramedics are not going to, treat him. He's bleeding pretty badly. He's like, he's bleeding, because Tatum just thought, like, according to his granddad, he wasn't hurt that badly, but he was stabbed in the side, and he was bleeding pretty bad. So his granddad's like, no, I'm not going to give him the gun. And Tatum was like, okay, let me put him back on the phone. He's like, well, give the gun to Andrea and, let them check you out, which he does. And so Tatum is really worried at this point. And then Zoe goes missing, and then then the book, like, just kicks into, like, full volume gear. So I really love this book, to be honest. So I'm giving it 4 stars. And this book was pretty long. It was 400 and something pages. Hold on. I'll tell you how much. Well, 403, so not very long. And I managed to get through it pretty fast. So I really enjoyed it. I really, really recommend this book. If you don't like Sarah Slaughter because of the very graphic, this isn't as graphic. I mean, some parts are a little bit graphic, but not really. It's not really bad. I would highly recommend this one. And then the first one is like A Killer's Mind, and that's the first book. I'd recommend both of these books. So my next book I'm going to be reviewing on my channel coming up is going to be Thicker Than Blood by Omer, and I'm going to go into this book and talk about it in my next video. As always, guys, please like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions, or if you just want to recommend me a book, that would also be great, because I need some ideas of what you guys want me to see to read. And I hope you guys have a great and safe night. Bye.